Morning, guys. Really good to be with you again. So, one of the phrases or the titles that Jesus described as in the Bible is as the soon and coming King. That's not a phrase that we use very often, but what does it mean? When is Jesus coming? This is a question that has been asked for hundreds of years, actually, and many of us have been thinking, well, around about now would be a good time. This is a question that people have been asking themselves for hundreds of years, even before Jesus was born. Many of the Old Testament prophets prophesied about this coming Messiah and about a kingdom that he was going to establish here on this earth that would never be overthrown again. And so when Jesus started his ministry, many of the religious leaders, in Luke chapter 17, they put the question to him, what do you know about the establishment of this kingdom? Is it you? Are you doing it now? His own disciples in Acts chapter 1, they asked him this question, will you at this time establish the kingdom? Obviously what they had in mind was an earthly kingdom with an earthly castle and a king and with authority, and they were very much looking forward to being in charge of everyone, unlike their circumstances at the time, which was being underneath Roman rule. But what God was doing was something very different, and that's often the case. He was doing something that was much bigger, not just an earthly kingdom, but something much bigger, an eternal kingdom, a spiritual, a heavenly kingdom that was slowly being manifest here on earth. Now, their expectations of what God was doing was something that led them astray, so they weren't looking for it. Now, I want to ask you to write down what your expectations are of the King and his kingdom coming, advancing, the imminent arrival of Jesus. What does that mean for you? What does that mean in your life? Is your expectation that he's going to sort out your finances and that you won't have to have any money problems? Is your expectation that he'll keep you healthy? Is your expectation that he will keep you safe? And certainly all of those things are promises in Scripture. God does say those things. But God also says that we're going to face trials and hardship and persecution. And so we start building our theology on just the things that we want to hear and not the things that we don't want to hear. And we set ourselves up for failure and for disappointment. Set ourselves up for feeling like we've been abandoned. And so what does it mean? The soon and coming King. Well, ultimately that refers to the second coming of Jesus. And we'll come back to that just now. But we just haven't been called just to twiddle our thumbs and wait for that, though. The kingdom is advancing right now. It doesn't advance in the good times and then retreat in the bad times. The kingdom of heaven is advancing constantly. Jesus is the soon and coming King right now in people's lives. And what does that look like practically? Well, what that looks like is when the authority of Christ comes in an individual's life, the kingdom of heaven advances. When we take the Bible and we take God at his word and we take his promises and we study it and we start applying it to our lives, that is the authority of Christ being established in my life as an individual, and I trust it as a husband, as a father, in the life of my family. The authority of Christ established in our family advances the kingdom. This is an incredible opportunity that we have as a church, and to see the gospel really extended into many people's lives. Is that for many of us, we spend much of our lives, and even as believers, if we're honest, building our lives on foundations that actually aren't particularly secure. And one of the things that happens when times become uncertain and, if you like, the world starts to shake, is that the foundations of what we're building our lives on starts to be revealed. And one of the things I think we can really trust for as we see the coming of the King and his kingdom in people's lives is that where they've built their lives on shaky foundations, those things will be exposed. And we start to see believers building on more solid foundations. And I think that we can really trust to see people who have never put their faith in Christ coming to faith too. And you might be watching this, you've never been to church, you've cleaned your house 3 times already, and you are watching it because you have nothing better to do. I want to leave you with this encouragement. If you've never made right with Christ, if you've never ever accepted his authority, if you've never submitted your life, asked him to come and dwell with you, I really want to encourage you. Don't leave it another day. Make right with God and start this incredible journey with a King and his kingdom advancing in your life and in your family. Hope you guys have a really good day, and hope you enjoy the cleaning.